Hi, everyone. Welcome to the It's All for Love podcast. I'm Cheryl Mazza, the healing dancer, your host. This podcast is all about Michael Jackson and how he continues to spread love in our world and inspires us to live our best lives. Thank you so much for watching and or listening to this episode. But before we get to the episode, I have a few things that I want to tell you. If you are watching this podcast on YouTube, please make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and also like the video of the episode that you are watching. And I would also love it if you would leave us some comments about how much you loved the episode. If you are listening on any other podcast platform, if you are able to, please subscribe on that platform. And also, what would really help me is if you would leave a review on whatever podcast platform you are listening on. The reviews help the podcast to be more seen and to spread the word to other Michael Jackson fans about the podcast. And as always, I am looking for guests to be on the podcast. So if you would like to be a guest on this podcast and tell your Michael Jackson story, I would absolutely love to chat with you. Make sure to check out the show notes and find the link to click on to schedule a coffee chat with me, or you can email me. The email address is also in the show notes. Thank you again for listening and or watching It's All for Love. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the It's All for Love podcast. I'm Cheryl Mazza, the healing dancer, your host. And today we have Emily Jones from Albany, Georgia. Emily is a mom of 3 boys and loves connecting with people and making friends around the world, especially moonwalkers. She loves art and actually sells her own art. Michael's music and coffee is all she needs to survive the day. I hear that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Welcome, Emily, to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm so excited. Honestly, when I heard about your podcast, I looked into it myself and I really enjoyed it. And I thought I definitely should try this. It's easy conversation.
Yes, it is. We can talk about Michael for hours, right?
I really can. I really can.
Awesome. Well, tell me then, how did you first discover Michael? Like, what was that moment?
Well, my father is a really big 80s buff and he loves the 80s, is obsessed with the 80s. He still is. So growing up, 80s music and movies was constantly flowing through the house. My dad's a Michael fan, but like I've mentioned earlier with you, he's more of a Prince fan. But there's something special about Michael that I really liked. And of course, he always would have on TV back then, the VH1 specials, and I love the 80s, and I enjoyed it. Whenever it came time to talk about Michael, I just got really excited. So yeah, I was very little, like around, elementary age. Then when I got older and was able to get on the internet and get on YouTube, I went ahead and Michael's video was right there. I clicked on it and it just kept leading me to more videos. And I was so shocked that almost every video back to back I just enjoyed.
Mhm.
So that struck my heart and I really started to admire his music. Every video was so different and told a different story. So it wasn't like on repeat and not everything sounded the same. So yeah, that's how he first struck my heart. And he's terribly handsome. That too.
Yes, I agree there.
Yes,
Yeah, he's the most beautiful person in the world
he is.
inside it.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. Well, how has he inspired you throughout your life?
Um, I think he's inspired me, especially most recently in my life. I think we all kind of listened to him as we were little, and we've liked his music. But I think as we all grow up and mature, and really start to pay attention to his personal life, I really think we start to connect a little bit deeper in understanding the things he went through. So, from what I understood, especially through reading his Moonwalk book, he's inspired me really to be myself. I think I've always been afraid of judgment. I've been a bit of a people pleaser. And whenever it came to something I wear, something I was into, I always thought about, well, what is this person going to think of me? Will they like me? Will they accept me? And I think Michael's a really big advocate for being yourself and be passionate about what you believe in. And that kind of leads to like my number two about, being more passionate about the things that you love. I honestly, like I said, I love art you know, and everything like that. And after reading his book, it's like now I feel like I'm not doing enough. Now I feel like I need to express myself more. Now I feel like I need to try new things. Now I feel like I need to be more motivated to express myself. So, yeah, about being more passionate about the things that you love. And, you know, Michael has been through so much in his life, so much. And I think with the passion that he has is how he was able to get through anything that he went through. He took that pain and turned it into art, turned it into music, turned it into, videos. And that's such a healthy reaction. You can't help what happens to you, but it's how you react to it.
Right.
So I think that is, terribly inspiring. And finding out what your passion is, if you don't know what it is, you need to find out about it. Because I think when pain comes, because regardless, we're going to feel pain in our lives. And I think that once that comes, we need a way to channel it out, to express it, to turn it into something creative, to create with it. So that's where he inspires me a lot, especially lately, to really get the ugly and use it in a unique way to express yourself. And I think that's a really beautiful thing that we all need to learn. So that's really what I get a lot about Michael is turning a lot of the evil that happens to you and killing it with love. I've
Mm.
seen things where he writes down to overcome evil with love. So that's where he terribly inspires me. I think it's an amazing message what he's done. And yeah, that basically wraps that up. But yeah.
I love how you said, like to overcome evil with love and talk about being a people pleaser. I am too, or I like to say a recovering people pleaser.
Me too.
Because
Me
it's a
too.
constant process of trying to really not go back to being that way. You're constantly having to be aware of it. And Michael also did inspire that in me too, was stop people pleasing, to be yourself and to really not care what other people thought about you, and
Exactly.
because that shouldn't affect you and the way you live your life. So,
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, which like I see the choices that he makes when it comes to style. He made a comment talking about, if fashion says no to it, I want to do it. So I
yeah,
thought that was so interesting. He says, "Well, I don't want to copy people. I want people to copy me." So there's a fearlessness to be like unique. So, I think we're all so different and we all are so very colorful. It's just expressing your own color.
yes,
So, yeah, I think that's what's so great about them. But yeah.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, and I love how Michael has inspired you through your art too.
Yeah, you know what? I think it was you and also other people have made comments about doing paintings related to Michael. And just last night, me and my friend were speaking, and I actually have two images in mind of what I really want to work on. So I'll definitely let you guys know when that's done. I'll definitely be posting, but it's gonna be great, and I won't post it till it's perfect. And I'm my biggest critic, and but I'm really excited. I'm planning to start it tonight, so I can't wait to share that.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Yes, it's gonna be good. I got confidence. I gotta speak it. It's gonna be good.
Yes, it will be good. It
Yeah.
already is.
So,
Have you had any Michael Jackson synchronicities?
yeah, so that's a very interesting topic that I was excited to talk about. Um, well, first of all, like we spoke before, I have been to Forest Lawn, and well, first of all, when I pulled up there, I was expecting this sad-looking kind of cemetery vibe, and it's not that at all. I mean, it's in the hills of California, and the last time I was in California, it was just breathtaking. The views and the hills and overlooking the mountains. It's such a peaceful aura, it's such a good vibe. And there's deer walking around, there's people having picnics, and it's so serene. So I thought that was beautiful. So when I went ahead and pulled up, I pulled over and I'm like, okay, well, this is really it. I'm really here. And at first, I was by myself and I was having a little moment, just thinking about him. And out of the nowhere, and I mention this because other people have mentioned experiencing something similar as well. It's like I had a Snow White moment. All these little animals just all of a sudden started coming out of the nowhere. And I'm like, okay, well, a squirrel, that's cool. And then a bird here, and then a bird here, and then another one there. And I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So I thought that was a beautiful thing. I'm like, okay, Mike, is that you? And so it was just a really sweet moment. And I know he loved animals, and I know, and I feel like there's a high possibility that his spirit or his aura or something about him is there, and it's strong, and it was just very peaceful in that certain spot. And this squirrel, I'm telling you, was not afraid to like sit, like be right next to me and be on my foot, and actually sat on my shoe for a minute. Terribly nice. And I'm like, okay. And when the birds came out next to me, I said, what? It was just, that doesn't happen. Like, that doesn't happen to me. It doesn't happen when I go to the park. So it was great. I took a picture of the squirrel. I was like, okay. I wanted to get a selfie with it, but I didn't want it to get on my head or something. But it
Yeah.
was, yeah. I didn't want it. I don't know if it had rabies. So I took a picture of it, and his nose is like right in my camera. I thought it was so sweet. But yeah, I thought that was just a real sweet moment where I was just like, I feel close. I feel close to him. I know he's physically close, but there's a moment where I felt like I was close. And also, um, lately, especially starting the new year, I don't know what has happened, what kind of shift may have happened, but it's like everywhere I go, I'm kind of hearing his music, or his music kind of follows me. They say there's that law of attraction. You talk about something enough, you listen to something, or, it's like it follows you. In a way, I really believe that's true. I mean, we put things out in the air and it comes back, but it's actually really fun. It's a really fun thing. And people say, well, Michael's popular, his music's going to play all the time. And it's like, no, this is different. I mean, I walk into a restaurant and Beat It's playing, or I go into Walmart and The Way You Make Me Feel is coming on, or I hit radio and Smooth Criminal, boom, just comes on. And it happens so close together. And I'm like, wow, what is this? It's such a, it almost makes you feel close, like, oh wow, like,
Yeah.
okay, like, what's going on here? So I think it's really neat. I think it's really neat. I really feel that people have similar stories, that there's something there that maybe wants to make you aware, I'm here, or something like that. Growing up in a Christian household, there's a lot of things about what happens in that space when someone passes. And it really, I believe the Bible talks about a lot of gray areas. And I think there is a high possibility that, ghosts or spirits or something do linger and do want to be around their loved ones. I believe highly that there is that possibility. And so the thought of that is actually very beautiful. And I really believe and pray that, he is really getting the rest he deserves, because I believe he was treated so unfairly and was a beautiful man. And, I honestly believe, he's resting, and I hope he's getting the best rest that he deserves. But it's great when his music follows me, you know. And I hope when his music comes on, people think of me. They're like, oh, that's they're like, oh, there goes, like, that's Emily's person right there. That's like her
Yes.
face there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I hope, like, oh, Emily, she loves MJ. That reminds me of her. But yeah, so that's something that, like I said, like, close friends of mine, have experienced the same thing. And it's neat. You almost feel like you're kind of chosen, like, oh, me? You're
Right.
thinking about me. But it's sweet. It's sweet. So yeah, that's kind of like a little bit of my experience. And I do see, like, his face sometimes too. Like, if I walk into Walmart or like a Cracker Barrel, his vinyl will be right there, or one of his books. So it's neat. It's really is. It's neat.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. And it gives you like, it kind of like lifts your mood. I mean,
Oh yeah.
if you're in some kind of, down mood, it lifts your mood. Or if you're in a higher vibe, it just makes it higher.
Right. And this actually happened to me yesterday. I've been looking for a job vigorously, and I was so disappointed because I was so close to getting an interview, but they turned me down, and I was like in the worst mood. I was like, oh, I said, this is not cool. So I got in the car and I just had the radio real low and I just turned it off. I'm like, I don't want to hear any music. But then I turned it back on and Beat It just came on just like that. I'm like, I had the hugest smile on my face. I'm like, ha ha, okay, I feel better now. So it did lift my spirit a lot. I thought it was such a moment. It really was, and yeah. So
Yeah.
it does make me. It makes my day. You know.
Yes, yes. I kind of had not like a similar experience like that, but the same song came on for me. I was like coming home from work
Yeah.
and I had a day. It was like I need to go home. Like I can't deal with this day anymore. And the first song that came on was Beat It. And it was almost like Michael saying, like, just beat it. It's
Yeah.
done. Like, forget it. Keep
Yeah.
going. You
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, there was something else that you were talking about that I wanted to comment on. Yeah, you were talking about him resting. Like you hope that he's truly resting.
Mhm.
And that just made me think of like a lot of us moonwalkers kind of have almost similar experiences where he comes into our lives still and shows up in similar ways and we feel the same, about it. I really feel like he is resting. He's
Mhm.
definitely in a better place, but I also feel like his spirit enjoys like coming to us
Okay.
and
That
help
makes sense.
our lives. And in spirit, he can be in more place than one, right? At the same time. I mean,
Right.
my experience with like, I've been in like the spirituality world for a while, working with like angel energy and stuff like that. And it's like, in spirit, you can do more than in human form. You can
Right.
do a lot in human form.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like I do feel like those moments for us are real. Like we're not crazy. We're not like, thinking up stuff. It's not like just a coincidence. It's happening almost not exactly the same. It's different for everybody, but very similar.
Yeah.
All of our
Yeah. Yeah. He can definitely be omnipresent, and because that's something that a spirit can do. And like I said, I think as moonwalkers, it is something that makes us feel special, and that's all we really want to feel like we are to him. And he loves his fans, so yeah, it's true.
right. Yeah. And you said it feels like you're chosen and we are. I think each of us, are chosen by him because he always loved his fans so much and wanted to give back as much as he could and he still is in spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If you had to pick a favorite Michael Jackson song, what is it?
I was like, that's like that question. um I guess just like a lot of other moonwalkers, it changes. Um, Normally when people ask me this question, I answer by like, right now, what is my favorite slow song and then upbeat song, because and like I said, it changes every couple weeks, or if something drastic happens in my life, it's gonna shift. But for a slow song right now, and it has been since 2025 for slow, is Someone in the Dark. And I think that's because I think at nighttime is when my life gets really quiet. There's something about nighttime when my kids are down, and I'm by myself and the house is quiet and the moon is up and the stars are out, and there's something beautiful about that song that it's very peaceful, it's very serene, and it reminds me of the beauty of nighttime, which is my favorite time of the day. And it's normally like when I'm painting, I can't paint in the morning, I can't paint during the day. There's something about nighttime. There's some sort of aura or feeling. And I just watched a Michael interview last night where Michael said psychologists say that's when an artist is like on their most high or most creative time is nighttime or when the sun's coming up. And I highly believe that. I've caught myself painting till I'll probably start like at 10 and I'll be done like at 3, 4 in the morning and my eyes would be out of focus. I'm like, I think I need to stop. I'm like, I think I'm really tired. But there's something about that time where I'm allowed to tune everything out. I listen to music, especially him or, classical or other artists I like. And, you really get lost. I really don't feel anything. I really don't remember anything. I'm kind of just in a moment. And I think Michael has commented a lot about his music being an escapism, uh, a way to escape from what it is you're in or what you feel, to take yourself to a different place. And I
Right.
really feel his music really he's accomplished it fully. I really do. I really feel listen to his music and I'm being taken out of whatever situation I'm in. And art already does that for me. Painting does that. The world's quiet, but just to add his music on top, it can even, spark an inspiration or an image in my mind. And I think he nailed it. I think he really nailed it with the escapism. And or if you're feeling in a good mood, it makes you feel the moment more.
Right.
And I've heard a lot of people say that it's like you're happy, and it's like you get happier when you put on something of
Right.
his that's really upbeat. People are like, oh, well, how does his music really make you that happy? I'm like, he literally has songs called Enjoy Yourself. Like the song's called Enjoy Yourself, or like Get on the Floor, Let's Dance, or Jump for Joy. Like those old ones with the Jacksons, those are really like, I don't know, yellow songs. I
Yes.
guess I can describe by color. They're so bright and happy, and it's just a good vibe. So yeah, for slow, it's Someone in the Dark, and then for fast right now is Sunset Driver, which was an unreleased song for a minute, and he went ahead and well, they decided to unrelease it. Of course, I believe it was after his passing. And gosh, what I'm like, why wasn't this song in the album? It was killer. I loved it, and I think I want to describe his voice as like when he really wants to get a good kind of edgy kind of I think he kind of sings like a slap bass.
Yeah.
He his words are so tight and they cut, but there's something so, I don't know how to describe it. He's so tight with his words and funky with his singing that it makes you do this.
Right.
Everyone kind of does this
Yeah.
move when his music comes on, and it's great. It puts you in a good mood. So Sunset Driver, I love that song. It's great. But yeah, that's for my songs. Couldn't just pick one. And like I said, if you ask me the same question like a month from now, it's probably gonna be different.
Yes, I know. It changes all the time for us.
Yeah.
What about favorite short film?
Okay. So a lot of people disagree with me on this because there's hardly any dancing in it. But it kind of refers back to the influence. I believe my favorite video is Leave Me Alone.
Okay.
I believe the whole idea of biting back, I just love. I think he made people aware. I see what you're saying about me. I see it all, and I'm aware of it, and it's hurtful, but I'm gonna turn it into something creative. And there's so much metaphorical things in there. It's too hard to count. But honestly, when his whole body was like this amusement park, what I translated it as, and I mean, people can translate it differently. I think they really dehumanized him and saw him more as like a object or a resource for money or for publicity or entertainment, like a kind of like a circus animal almost. I really feel it was a way for him to really express how he really felt about the way people are treating him.
Yeah.
And it's a great song too. I love how he added his own animals and all the things, that the snippets of you know of what people were saying about him. And instead of, I'm sure he had moments where he cried and it hurt, but it's like, okay, let me brush this off, let me see what I can come up with. And I thought that was amazing, as people, we go through things, And sometimes we play victim for so long and so hard. And that's why I stress, if you're not passionate about anything, you need to find out. It's something that's very crucial, to help you live, to help you get through those hard times. But yeah, um, that's a really good music video. I liked how the Dangerous album cover, he
Mhm.
kind of morphed that video with the cover. I think he paid dangerously amount of attention to detail, and that's why I really liked the video. There's just so much to kind of look at, and I loved it. So yeah, that's my favorite video, honestly.
That's a great video. Yeah, he was very, very creative with that and in a different way than what we're used to seeing, right? Not
Right.
with just the dancing and the singing. It was like a different way of being creative. And not, yeah, I get it. I love that. I love that song actually. I love screaming that song in my car.
Yes, especially if you've had a day and
Yes, yeah, like leave me alone.
it's a good bite back song. I'm telling you, it is. And when especially if people are trying to tell you how to live and blah blah blah, and are just bothering you, it really is like it's an anthem for people that are just fed up. It's
Yep.
great.
Yes, yeah. Let's talk for a minute about you keep talking about like living your passion, like finding what your passion is and like really doing what brings you joy. I love this topic because it's like, when you find out what you're passionate about
Mhm.
and you do more of that in your life, that's what brings the happy moments, right?
Right.
And it's
Right.
like we're not always going to be happy 100% of the time, but
Hmm.
it's also on yourself, like on you to make
Hmm.
yourself happy, not on other people. So
Right.
finding your passion and doing more of that or doing even more of what just brings you joy, right?
Hmm.
So that was like where this podcast was born out of because Michael Jackson is my passion,
Hmm.
is one of my passions. I have many
Hmm.
passions.
Yeah, I figured I'd say, hold up, I know she's got
Right.
a
I have
lot of things
many
that she's
passions,
doing.
but he's like up there as like probably number one. Um, and so anytime we have conversations, right, about Michael or anything Michael related happens, it brings us joy. So as moonwalkers, continue to seek that out and
Hmm.
find that, but also do the other things that bring you joy. Like, maybe the only thing that comes to mind for me right now is like the beach. I am such a beach girl. Like, I will go to the beach as much as I can. I like to go by myself because it's very grounding.
Yeah.
And, you just get to be alone with like your thoughts and with the ocean and let it cleanse.
Therapeutic.
Yes, yes. So
Hmm.
I definitely second all of your talk about finding your passion. If you don't know what it is, start looking at what brings you joy. Like, what are the things that bring you joy?
Right.
That's
Right.
how you'll find it.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, totally agree. And sadly, there are some people that, like me, I think I used to think I really wasn't good at anything, and I think I just accepted that until something happened in my life that kind of forced me to be like, you know what, I can't handle what's going on. I need an outlet somewhere. And I'm glad, art came back to my mind because it's something that I loved when I was little and I think I left. And then when I rediscovered it as I got older, I said, hold up, I think I'm actually kind of good at this. And
Yeah.
next thing you know, I was selling it, and I became really passionate about it. So yeah, that's totally agree.
Nice. Well, tell me, how does Michael continue to spread love in your world today?
Um, oh gosh, I took my notes, but it's like my mind is going it's running a million miles a minute.
That's okay.
So how does Michael show love today? So I honestly feel like, especially in this generation, I believe self-centeredness or maybe evil can be praised. And I feel that a lot of Michael's music I think it really goes against the agenda right now. I think he was really selfless. And the fact that moonwalkers like us, love his music, and the fact that he has that influence, I think, what we learned from him, we enjoy practicing ourselves because it's like, well, if Michael does this and we love who he is and everything, and that's something that he highly believed in, we respect it. We hear him out more because we love him. And
Mhm.
so we spread that. And you know, being sweet and selfless. And I honestly feel like Michael was like almost like a servant.
Mhm.
He seemed always very humble, and it's not lame. It's not, I guess, how can you say it? It's not old school. It's being selfless and putting others first and caring and helping and doing charitable things and hearing someone out without a behind agenda, for your own needs. Um, I honestly feel that's something Michael has always taught and has made cool, kind of like that song Bad. He says, I'm not talking about criminals. He's like, I'm not trying to promote that, but that, someone that wants to do better and change their lives and grow, that's bad, as in that's cool.
Right.
So the fact that we take those lessons and we apply it to our lives, I really feel, that that's how it is. I mean, because you say, how does Michael continue to spread love in your world? You say it like he's alive, and actually it's like he still is.
Right. Yeah.
It's like he very much still is. Even though he's passed, there's a message that he strongly, especially towards the end of his life, that he profoundly was really trying to get in there, opposed to when he was just with his brothers in the Jackson Five. It was really just, singing and trying to sound good and, learning new things and exploring
Mhm.
the music industry. I feel, especially towards the end, it wasn't anymore about numbers, or it was more about the influence. So, yeah.
Well, what do you want the world to know about Michael?
Okay. So I think, of course, the first thing that came to my mind was about his innocence. But then I backed up a little bit, and what I think I want the world to know about Michael is his influence and who he was outside of the music. I think people really pay attention a lot to his music and his dancing, and that's good. But I think once someone takes the time to really study maybe the kind of character or influence or the humanitarian side of who he is, the thought of his innocence comes natural and just follows. I honestly believe that. I honestly believe that once you really, do basic research and you really pay attention to who he was and his intentions. And like I said, a lot of celebrities, they say, well, this person donated more than Michael, or this person has more numbers. I mean, Michael didn't just sign checks. I really think he really took the time to learn a lot of his fans one on one and personally, and really humbled himself to going into smaller areas and foster cares and hospitals, and really expressed about, how much he cared. So I really thought that was beautiful. So that's what I really want the world to know about Michael. Because, like I said, I really feel that it kind of cancels out anything that maybe people have assumed about him.
Right.
And like I said, right now it's all about, oh, this person's the new king of pop or the new queen of pop. And, oh, do you know Kendrick got more views than Michael on the Super Bowl? And you know what? I believe Michael didn't really measure his success. I think there was a point where there was a shift where he's like, you know what? I don't even think it's about the numbers anymore. I did that already. I think now this is a more about what, as an artist, what have you done with that success? Who have you helped? Who have you reached your hand out to? What exactly kind of change have you made within yourself that has caused more people to change? And
Mhm.
if it's nothing, then you've done nothing,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
So I remember reading in the Moonwalk book where he did the Destiny tour, and he said he loved it, he enjoyed it, but it wasn't as impactful as he thought it was.
Mhm.
And so he decided to just donate all the money. And he's like, okay, now I feel better, because I think he really cared more about the impact that he was having on people. So I don't really care no more about numbers. I mean, if Justin Bieber or Beyonce triples whatever numbers Michael's got, I still don't think it doesn't do anything, because there's that character and of the influence and the impact. It's I believe Michael, I don't think anyone's even reached the surface of, what Michael has done. So I don't. there's only going to be one him. I don't think there's ever going to be another him again. I think he just comes once and it's like a shooting star. He just disappears. It's gone, but it lives on forever though.
Yeah, he definitely left his mark on this world.
Definitely.
Like
Yes.
hardcore. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember there was an interview where people said, "Well, Michael, you have so much influence. Have you ever thought about being an ambassador or going into politics?" I don't know if you heard that. And he's like, "No." He's like, "I honestly feel my music already does that. I really feel like there's music can do things that politicians and ambassadors can't do. And I think it breaks all boundaries and barriers, um, language barriers and, racial barriers. I mean, I wasn't alive then in the 70s or 60s, but, there was segregation. And next thing you know, in the dances, there was the whites and blacks that just were like, you know what, let's just come together. It's the music. It's like we all like the same song. Why are we separating like this? So I really feel music is very powerful, and Michael knew that, and he put it all out in his music. Um, and he stressed that he knew people were finally watching. He got the attention. He got the platform, and he's like, okay, here's now what I got to say, and this is what I stand for. You like it? Cool. You don't? All right, then you
Yeah.
can
Keep
go.
moving.
You can beat it.
Yeah.
You can beat it. So that's what I like a lot. You're not gonna hear songs like Earth Song really nowadays, or Black and White, um, and even now we see on Facebook. I feel like all these races are trying to prove which race is better,
I
and
know.
it's like I think about that Super Bowl, and it really more was about us all coming together, um, and all being brothers and sisters and all showing love for one another. And I thought that was amazing. Right now, everything's so vulgar. And I mean, sure, sometimes it's entertaining, but I really feel um, Michael matured so much and was really just trying to think of creative ways to express what really mattered to him, you know?
Yes.
And I thought that was beautiful. But yeah.
Yes. Yes. I think he was always about trying to figure out how to bring us all together.
Yes,
Yeah.
because especially nowadays, oh, Michael would be pulling his hair out right now with just the social media and everyone just always arguing and fighting and making points and doing this. Oh gosh, Michael, woo,
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
I know he
Yeah,
would. He would.
yeah, he would, but you know what? The fact that we know what he stands for, we know everything that he stood for was good for people. And so I just, to not just be a fan of his music, but to like him as a person, to love him as a person, that's
Mhm.
a whole other level of fan, because I mean, yeah, like you like other artists and stuff like that, but who knows about them? I feel like Michael wore his heart on his sleeve a bit. Um, as private as he was, I really felt like he also shared a lot about himself. So he's like, "Oh, I'm so private," and it's like we know all this.
Right?
So
Yeah.
I think he was so comfortable with being vulnerable. So
Yes.
I thought that was great. You got to really kind of see, and then the books, that's a whole other level of seeing who he really was. I just created a even more higher respect.
Yes. Yes. I love how much he shared of himself with us. And I think that all of that has also inspired us to be our best selves. Like I always say,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
he's inspired us to be better people through love, taught us how to love everybody and everything, even in the hardest times.
Exactly. Exactly. And like I said, people have said, well, Michael comes and he goes, and there's not going to be another one. I fully believe that. Um, and I know there's really talented people out there, but like you can't replace certain people, and that's okay. You can't replace them. That's fine. That's all I got to say about that topic. Even though I feel like I mouthed out a lot, but it's okay.
It's okay. Everything
Yeah.
that's supposed to be said is being said. So, yeah.
Yes.
Was there anything else that you would like to talk about?
Um. Well, what I would like to tell folks is that if you haven't given Michael a try, if you're just know like three of his songs, if you just know the popular music videos. I say, there's a TikTok where this girl says, have fun and try. Try it. Just, there's like almost 50 years worth of music. I know there's more in there that you're going to like. I say, hey, you know, the Invincible album sounds nothing like the Jackson 5, and the Jacksons sound nothing like the Thrill. It's just there's more in there to explore. And so I say have fun and try listening to more of his music, try, learning more about him and what he stood for. And you know, take a look more into his life. It's very fascinating, it's very interesting. And especially as an adult now, I find it, there's so much psychology behind it, and it's great. It's good. It's good stuff.
Agreed. Well, thank you so much, Emily, for chatting with me about Michael.
Well, you're very welcome.
A
Like I said,
pleasure.
I
Yeah.
enjoy every bit of it.
Me too. Me too. And thank you everyone for watching and or listening to It's All for Love. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.